Enter player 1.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Fallout 4. This is episode 20. What the F are we going to do? I'm here with Mr. Mike.
Woohoo! Oh boy, now we got the. It's time for a recap. Time for a recap. Oh my god. All right. Time for. Okay, so as we just seen in the last episode, episode 19, that Dad is just not even going to listen to us and just going to tell us to go retrieve some synths that the railroad wants to free.
And by dad, you mean father, not my dad.
Yeah, that's right. He calls
My father,
yeah,
which is
well,
my son.
He's older than you. It keeps throwing me off. He's the old young little boy.
It's like the Alabama of Boston. My dad's my son.
Yeah, son's dad. Oh my god.
So we started off leaving the vault.
Okay, we started out leaving the vault. So you remember your first vision of, as soon as you unfrozen, seeing your wife frozen across from you. You remember that Kellogg came in and killed her, murdered her, and
right?
That you had purpose.
Right.
When you had that, you're like, and you said it even in the little thing. He said, "I'm going to find my son. I'm going to get him back." You know?
Right.
So you leave the vault, and you got some guns, and you leave the vault, and you realize the world is totally shit. Like, what the fuck? You immediately go back and talk to Godsworth.
Right, and Codsworth, pushed us in the direction of,
as it were.
Right, he pushed us in the direction of Concord.
Yes.
Concord, not Concord.
Yes.
Concord.
And then, that's where our first introduction to Mr. Preston Garvey. Woohoo! Oh, the General Maker.
And we were duty bound to rescue them.
Well, you decided to make it. So you did all that. You got your first suit of power armor. You had that first taste of power armor. Ooh, that was something. And then you rescued him. You rescued the team.
Killed a Deathclaw.
Killed a Deathclaw. Well done. And you sent them on up to Sanctuary, but you did not go with them.
I did not.
You said, no, I got to find my boy.
I figured I was in hot pursuit at the moment.
Right. So your next choice was tried to figure out where Diamond City was.
Right. I ran into Carla. She told me where Diamond City was.
Okay.
One of the merchants.
Right. Okay. So you get to Diamond City and you first meet Piper. Hey, Piper. Piper's looking pretty nice.
Right.
Maybe forget about your wife for a little bit.
No.
Piper. No. Okay. All right. So you didn't do that. So we found Piper. So Piper's awesome until she's a companion, and then she can't shoot worth shit and gets you into trouble. Well,
right.
That was not. I remember that. That was pretty funny. That was funny.
Right.
So you tried to skirt around something, but anyway, I got sidetracked. So you go inside.
We talked to Ellie.
Nick's, she tells you to go to Valentine. Valentine's not there. You talk to Ellie. Ellie says he's missing, and she sends you on the quest to find Nick Valentine.
Right. And as soon as we get to Park Street Station, Piper screws it up. Walks over a landmine that I dropped. And
oh, good times! Wow. So
we never take Piper out again.
Yep, that was it. We gotta
You can dress her up, but you can't take her out.
Gotta save Piper for certain things, and she's not ready to be your kind of battle companion. At least through this playthrough. So anyway, you go in there, you save Nick, you find out that Nick is a synth. Like, what is this? What?
Yeah.
Look at that crazy guy. He's a synth. He's falling apart. And then you save him from Skinny Malone, who's not skinny, and
he's not very Malone either.
Not very Malone, and you I think, did you pass that speech challenge?
No, I don't think I've ever passed a speech challenge.
That's right. You did not pass the speech.
I don't know. I might have. I can't remember.
I don't remember. I thought you did. I thought he may have let us go. Anyway, so
I'll put that link up here and
we'll figure out what
look
we
it out
actually
later.
did. It's been a while. So anyway, we rescue Nick. He says, "Hey, meet me back at Diamond City, and we'll talk about your son." Well, you're like, "Sweet." So the funniest thing I can remember is you give him this general description of a guy that's got to be like the general description of everybody that's in Fallout. A bald guy
with a scar,
with a scar on his face. It's like, oh, it can't be Kellogg, can it? Did you remember him saying anything about Kellogg? Like, no. I just saw my wife get killed and my baby be stolen. I don't remember what name they said. But anyway, so he immediately jumps to the conclusion that it's got to be that guy because who else is bald and got a scar on their face in the post-apocalyptic wasteland?
And gave us the idea to, on our next playthrough, make a character that looks just like
Exactly.
Kellogg.
That would be funny. Yes, you should. You're sitting there giving a description of yourself. That would be funny. So anyway, you and Nick go to Kellogg's house.
Right.
You search through it. You find a little secret button. You find all his hidden stash.
Mm-hmm.
You find out he's got a penchant for some cigars. Nick summons dog meat because you totally bypassed dog meat. You never even picked up dog meat.
Never saw him.
And so dog meat leads us all the way back to Fort
Hagen. Fort Hagen.
Fort Hagen.
Right.
You go there. You battle through all the things. You totally edited out the first thing that we did the first time we encountered Kellogg, which was awesome. Is you had the mini nuke and you nuked the entire room and you won. That was awesome. And then you're like, no, we can't. We got to talk to him. So you did the talk through and then you almost died in that run through. That was pretty funny. But then you killed him and you learned that he's working for this institute place.
Right.
You find that you for some reason you collect up pieces of his brain as a souvenir.
Right.
I'm going to hang on to this. I'm going to put it in my pocket. There you go, a little brain of the guy who killed my wife and stole my baby boy. So, you end up going back to Nick. He's like, Jesus Christ, dude, what did you do with it? Why'd you keep in that brain? It's like, hey, I don't know, I just thought it was cool. He's like, well, we'll have somebody look at that brain. I'm like, okay.
Pull the lint off.
Yeah, there you go. So you give it to Dr. Amari?
Yeah,
Correct?
we take it to Dr. Amari.
So at the memory den, you meet who runs that town again?
Hancock.
Hancock, thank you. You briefly meet Hancock because
All right.
meet you at the front gate.
Mm-hmm.
But you bypass him altogether because it's like, oh, whatever, he's cool. You're on a mission.
He's a psychopath. He just stabbed a guy in front of me.
It's true, but you should have shot him. So he just beat you to it. You're just upset. But anyway, you bypass him altogether. You go to the memory den. You get told to go to talk to Dr. Amori. And you try to convince her to, hey, look at this dead brain I have in my pocket. I need to find out more information this guy knew. And she manages to get all super excited when she sees some institute tech. And she goes, oh, okay, I'll do it. I wasn't going to do it, but then I changed my mind and did it. And so, but she can't do it by herself. So she hooks up Nick and you as you go trancing through his memories, which was kind of really stupid. So you do that, and you find out that he is working for the Institute, and the way they get around why nobody can detect him is because they use
molecular
teleportation.
Relays.
Blah, 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 blah. They use teleportation.
Teleportation.
Stop it. Yeah, there we go. Use teleportation. And you're like, well, crap. Well, how do we do this now? And it's like, wait a minute. In that they mentioned that he was supposed to go find this guy named Virgil.
Right. And
he's somewhere in the vast glowing sea. Which another thing is funny and ironic and just really doesn't make any freaking sense. So Kellogg gets this assignment that he's got to go find Virgil. Right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
All he needed was evidently a Pip-Boy because all he has to say is, hey, find Virgil. And it'll give you the map and tell you where you should go to find him because that's how you found. You did not wander the glowing sea for like 2 weeks trying to find him. You're like, oh, no, I'm going to go here, talk to the children of Adam. They give you a general idea where he might be, and there's Virgil.
And it's not like, Kellogg couldn't put on a radiation suit, and it's not like it's going to affect any of the coursers or synths that he takes with him as a kill squad.
It's true. Any companion that you bring along
is fine.
They're not wearing a radiation suit. The game doesn't make sense, folks. Just enjoy it, have fun. But there's certain things that just don't make sense. So anyway, you find Virgil, and you're quite taken back. Oh my God, because he is a super mutant.
Super mutant.
That's the word that was, yes. I'm pointing at you saying super
Oh, yes. Okay.
He is a super mutant.
I was just staring at the ceiling.
And you're like, oh no, what happened to you? And he's like, oh man, I kind of fucked up. I kind of gave myself this thing, and now I'm fucked up and super mutant. Now listen, so you need my help getting into the Institute. He's first surprised that you kill Kellogg. And it's like, oh shit, you kill Kellogg. I'm like, I killed Kellogg. You want to see some of his brain? He's like, nah, I'm good. But he says, all right, I'll help you, but you got to help me. It's like, man, Another person that wants something for something. He's not just willing to help. He wants his own little thing. So he tells you, here, I'll try to. He's a geneticist, first of all, and he's trying to say, okay, well, I'm going to give you the rough schematics on this teleporter. It may work, may kill you, but it's the best I can do. So he sketches it out with a crayon because his hands are so freaking big of what he thinks to build this teleportation device.
Right.
But you got to promise him that if you make it inside, you got to go find his serum so the cure so he can turn himself back. And you go, okie dokie, I'm going to do this. So you travel all the way back to
Dr. Amari.
Dr. Amari. She says she can't help you.
Right.
And she suggests you go talk to the railroad. And you're like, fuck! God damn
Follow
it.
the Freedom Trail.
So you follow that gay-ass Freedom Trail. You die a couple times on the Freedom Trail.
Allegedly.
At least in your dreams when you had the flashbacks of you freaking dying. So you make it to the railroad. You meet the leaders of the railroad in this fly-by-night little community. You meet Deacon. And so Deacon goes, yeah, the Deacon stands up for you. Deacon says, yeah, this guy's a cool hip cat. And he does this thing, and he's done stuff. And we should let him come in. You're like, and the chick that runs it's like, okay, but I need to know something first. And she lays down the law saying, hey, if you see a synth and a human lying on a railroad track, you're going to save that synth first, right? And maybe even leave the human there. And you're like, what?
Not exactly, but that's the gist of it,
yes.
yes.
Exactly. She's making you choose synths over everybody. And that put a little milk in your fucking cream there. You're like, what? I don't want to do that.
A little milk in your cream?
It's been a long day. So it's like, it sort of sours you to the whole railroad thing.
Yes.
But you still need a way to do it. So you're like, so I'm trying to remember so you were like, okay, and how did you find out about she tells you that you can go either railroad, you can go Minutemen, or you can go with Brotherhood of Steel. Brotherhood of Steel, which you met on your way to Diamond City.
Right, and they seemed like a bunch of posers.
Which they are the 1939 Germany is what the guys are. Yes.
They struck me as the Wish version of the military.
They struck. You haven't really met them yet.
Temu.
If you think the railroad's bad about synths, that's what the Brotherhood of Steel is about everybody that isn't
them
human. Period. If you're not human, they don't want to have anything to do with you.
So I was stuck taking it to the Minutemen.
You were stuck taking it to the Minutemen. So you
right.
go back and you talk and you find Preston Garvey, and he's like, hey man, really cool that you helped us out of there. If you need anything, I'll help you. And then you say, hey, can you help me? It's like, hey, but first, there's a settlement. I can't leave these guys because my ankle is kind of twisted a little bit, and I don't want to travel that far, and I'm a wuss. So why don't you go and check, and go check on this settlement.
General.
No, he didn't call you general on the first one. he waited till you did the one and came back. It's like, hey, listen, I've been thinking, I'm going to give you the rank of general. How about that? Because I don't want to do it, and someone needs to be responsible. I want to be the guy that tells you what to do, and then you're the guy who gets blamed for it. You know? Which is, yeah. So anyway, so Preston makes you the general. You go help out a couple settlements because you need to do that before he'll let you talk to Sturgis, and you can give Sturgis something, and Sturgis wants you to do something. And you're like, hey, cool, Sturgis, I'm going to get right on that. And then you say, here, by the way, why don't you decipher this and help me make this? And he's like, okay, cool. And then he goes, have you hunts for parts. You get the parts. You build the machine. And he says, hey, while you're there, I want you to take this and stick it in their mainframe, and I want to learn some shit. You're like, all I want to do is find my son, you guy jerk stores. And instead of being logical and that you're almost there. You're at the precipice of where you want to be since you've left the vault. instead of going there with as many guns and things as you may need to take your son back, you're like, got like 4 bullets, and I'm wearing my crappy. I'm wearing Kellogg's armor, and I got like 3 shots in his gun. I got this. Let's do this now. So you hop on the pad, and you go to the Institute. Wow, super sci-fi place. You're walking around like, wow, this is clean. I'm sure it smells like fresh roses throughout the entire place. You're like, wow, this is cool. And you're left into a big tunnel, and you go down this tube, and you look around, and you're in this huge place that's like clean and wonderful, and it's what's the future supposed to be like. And you're like, wow, this is cool. And you get down to that elevator, you walk through this little thing, and you go in another elevator, you open up the doors, and there, finally, in a glass cage, is your son. You're like, hey, get out of there, Sean. I'm here for you. And this kid's freaking out like, you're not my dad. Help, Father. Help. And then this old man comes in, and he spouts off some kind of freaking code, and the kid just goes, bloop. And you're like, oh, no. And then he says, oh, and this old man goes, well, you're pretty tenacious. You made it all this far. I was just curious to see if you'd make it. Like, give me my son, you son of a bitch. And he's like, I got some news for you. I don't know if you're ready. Did you see Empire Strikes Back? And you're like, what? Like, I'm about ready to lay some stuff on you. You may not be ready for it. And you're like, what? And it's like, well, I am Sean. But now I'm old. I got gray pubes. I got grayer pubes than you do. And you're like, you're a liar. And you're like, and he's like, no. Search your feelings. And you're like, and then you're like, ah, shit.
No.
And you're like, yeah, god dang it. And he tells you, like, yeah, well, and then he gives you the rundown. The best part is he gives you the rundown. Yep, I was a baby boy. And they needed me to make some better sense. So I hung out with everybody. It's cool. And then once I became the director, I started going through the old files and realized, what happened. And I realized that Kellogg guy that murdered Mom, which was, just collateral damage, whatever.
Just another day of the job.
Just another day on the job. Realized that my dad was still down there, so I decided to send a computer program and set you free just to see what would happen. And wow, sure enough, here you are. Hi, Dad.
And then he proceeds to send me to do Kellogg-like jobs.
Exactly. So I'm pretty sure right now just we've covered the bases.
So
okay,
we're left with the decision on what to do.
So many decisions what to do. Now, let's go through our options.
Right.
Let's start with option 1. You have a ton of jet. You have at least 1 shot left for Kellogg's gun. I'm thinking a lot of jet and that 1 bullet.
Go out on my own terms.
Go out on your own terms.
Well, that would be the end of the series.
That's true. So let's try to figure out what realistically your character would do. Like, again, I've said this before to you, and now I'm saying it to the audience. It's like your world has now, other than when you walked out of the vault, your whole world got turned upside down.
Right.
And now it got turned upside down again because your whole vision was to save your son. And now you see him, and he's not your little baby boy anymore. He's an old man, and he runs this evil institute that one of their things that they're still doing, and they've been doing as he's been director, is replacing people.
Right.
They make a copy of a person, they send that copy to go out to kill that person and take over their lives.
Which is what we saw when we encountered Art in the Wasteland.
Correct.
Art was just a regular guy.
And technically we encountered him twice. We heard him. That was pretty funny. We heard that same scenario, but we couldn't find out where they were at. We walked away and we heard bang.
So I guess Art has been they tried to replace him twice.
Twice. They were determined, whatever job the Institute really wanted to make sure that he got replaced.
But so the Institute's replacing people. Father has not changed his ways. He's tried to blame Kellogg for the past,
Right.
but
Or the
it's the
past,
same.
or what the old director, whatever.
Right.
Yeah, right.
He's doing the same stuff.
He has been doing the same stuff, and he seems inflexible to change.
Right. So I don't see myself joining the Institute.
Correct. Yeah, I do not think that is an option.
So the other options that I'm going to discount right away are the railroad.
Again,
they're not bad people.
They're not. They're just they're too narrow focused.
Right.
They're too narrow focused. They're not. They are trying to do a good thing. Yes, I would agree with you 100%. But because that is their sole purpose in life, they're not looking at the bigger picture.
Right. And you got to consider, I just got unfrozen. It's going to take a little while to come to grips with the Institute since being people. Okay. If I even get there. So to ask me to jump right into that mindset on a whim.
That's right, because you haven't met Curie yet, and you haven't had that option to Curie.
Right. Curie could probably change my mind if I met Curie, but right. I haven't met Curie yet.
I've not met Curie yet.
But barring not having met Curie yet, I really have no reason to go all in on synths.
No.
Like the railroad would want me to.
No.
So the second one I'm going to discount right away is the Brotherhood of Steel.
Now, again, I wish you would have followed. I wish you would have followed that mission a little bit more. Like, I think for your character, you helped out Dance because that's what you do. You're a helper.
I'm a helper.
And you're a former soldier.
Right.
So it made sense for you to go, wait, so you haven't gone to ArcJet. All you did was go help him at the thing.
Right. I got the signal as I passed by the police station. It sounded like a military signal.
Right.
So I responded, and I got there and found some doofuses playing dress up in power armor.
No, I get that, but you don't you don't know the full extent of their craziness.
Well, I asked them about what they're about, and they're he told me that they're about collecting technology and keeping it out of the hands of the regular people.
Right.
And we didn't really even get into the whole hating of ghouls and
that's what I'm saying.
Behemoths and stuff.
Your character does not know the true depth of how bad the Brotherhood of Steel is.
Right. But they immediately lied to me.
But again, we're basing this on that was your first impression that, okay, well, you helped them and then you learned a little bit about them and like, okay, you guys are just not. I got to find my boy. You're just like, okay, whatever, right. I'm going to go find my boy. But still, as you reflect now, it's like, would your character want to try to, maybe you just misunderstood, maybe you didn't fully grasp what the Brotherhood of Steel was about. They do seem to be a superior military organization more than the Minutemen.
Right.
But okay, we'll put a pin in that, and we'll go back to that later. So now you're at option 3, which is the Minutemen. Now, what I hate Preston. I hate him. I hate him so much because again, it's that whole, hey, I want to go help people, but I have to stay here. I'm going to send you to go help those people because I have to keep an eye on Mama Murphy. Because she may just wander around, find some jet and OD, and I can't have that happen. But he does. He sends you on missions that he should be going on to try to represent the Minutemen.
Right.
But anyway, so with that aside, they are the one group that honestly wants to help everybody.
Right.
They want to protect people from raiders. They want to protect people from anything that's bad. They generally go at it with a vision of, I want to help.
Right.
Okay, so the Minutemen is overall, to me, the best choice.
Right. They fall more in line with my moral compass.
Correct.
So to speak. I have an option of going back to Diamond City and talking to Piper. She has dossiers on all the different groups. Maybe I could get a little more information. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But then let's say I do join a group, whether it's the Brotherhood, which it's probably not going to be, right, or the Minutemen. What are we going to do about the Institute?
the bottom line for the Institute is they claim they sort of claim that they also want to help the Commonwealth. But the way that they seem to want to help the Commonwealth is replace people with synths.
They don't want to help the Commonwealth. They want to help humanity as they define it. That's part.
Right.
That's even their tagline: humanity redefined.
Right.
So I don't think they're in it to help the Commonwealth. They're in it for their own best interests in defining what humanity is to them.
Okay.
So,
All right, but their unwillingness to listen to, like, especially Father, who runs the Institute, he's unwilling to listen to his father. I keep saying son, but no, he's your son.
right.
Okay. He is not willing to listen to you when you say, "Hey, this is not right." Maybe maybe the Institute is the problem.
Right. And he sent me to Libertalia to see how they do things. And they didn't do things. They just wanted to kill everybody and take their synth back.
Right.
And then I went back and talked to him again, and he told me I'm going to go to Bunker Hill.
To get these other synths back.
I didn't volunteer. I didn't say I was going to get synths back. I didn't
Right.
say I was going to continue working with them. As a matter of fact, even when Ali, what's his name, Harcourt, one of the engineers at the Institute asked me, and I'm like, I don't think so. I don't know.
Right.
You know. But anyway.
All right. So
Kill the Institute or kill Father or just leave him alone. That's what I'm looking at.
well, that's the funny thing. Again, the beauty of Fallout 4 is, like, you don't have to do anything, and you could just things will just continue, and that part of the game will not progress. Like, if you decided, well, I'm going to hook up with Piper, I'm going to start my own family, I'm going to build super bases, I'm going to go around and you could just do Minutemen stuff. But I think if you join up with the Minutemen, you go around and do bases. Eventually, they're going to want to do something about the Institute. I think, again, you're going to eventually get the thing to where they want to rebuild the castle, and you rebuild the castle, and you're going to go out and eventually I think they're going to point you in the direction of doing something about the Institute.
Well, I don't want to speculate.
Okay.
I don't want to give knowledge that I have already about the game, what's coming up.
Oh, okay. So
just reacting as with what I know.
Okay. So does your so I would say then, if that's the case, if that's what you're willing to do, I think your character would just walk away from the Institute.
Just not go back, not talk to Father anymore. Just start my own life with Piper.
And maybe join the Minutemen and see where the Minutemen, because again,
become the general.
I hate to say it, but yeah, again, out of all the factions, they're the one that seem to want to help people. Unless your character doesn't want to help people, but you found your son. He's kind of a dick. He's not willing to listen to you. He's okay with your mom, with your wife being dead, and the guy that did it. Yeah, I think your character would just go. Definitely be walking away from the Institute.
Right.
Because now you don't want to be his errand boy. And again, you don't. That's the thing too. It's like you don't even have to join. You wouldn't have to join anybody. You could just say, "Well, screw it. You can't even go home now because now that your home's got a whole bunch of people in it." So you could find another settlement that if you help them, they can let you use their workstation, and you could just build your own little commune there, and you farm and do that shit. But if you were thinking about be part of a bigger group, the best bigger group would be to the Minutemen. And it's so funny because your character's not even high enough level yet. You're not going to get the. Well, I'm just curious. It's just like you have to be 30th level before Nuka World will pop up.
Right.
So it's you can't even be doing something, and all of a sudden you get a radio thing saying Nuka World. Oh, I remember going there. You can't even go. Well, I wonder what's happened with that. You know what I'm saying? So, to anyone who's listening out there, maybe give some suggestions on what you think, we should do. But if we wish to continue the game going, I think the option would be you would, after your talk with Dad, after talking after talking with your son, and you're saying enough. I don't want to do that. He's not. I don't want to do it, and he's not willing to listen to reason. You would go back to Preston Garvey. It's like, all right, listen, I'll be your general. Let's go. Let's just help people.
So the basic question that we're asking right now is, which faction do you think we should join, and what should we do about Father? Leave a comment below. Let us know what you think, and we will catch you in the next one.
Thank you, everybody, for following. Let's figure out what we're doing.
All right. Take care. Bye.